We're here at the end of May in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and we're starting this off, and it's been a dream for 10 years. I'm Jimmy McQuaid. I have no affiliations. I live a source-centered life with the population of Earth as my family. The message is simply this: everyone has a voice, every voice matters, absolutely everyone is included. Absolutely. The Get Foundation is committed to the abolition of human shame and the committed journey to healing, wholeness, and self-love. Where I started, when I was 6.5 years old, on a summer day like this, in my neighborhood, something came at me which the doctors later said, as they say, caused me to recede inside myself and stop maturing emotionally. At 43 years old, I crashed and burned. I became unemployable and isolating and suffering, and I had savings, but that's only going to go on so long. And so I approached a friend of mine. We got together, we sat down because I was so scared. I just leaned in, we had a nice intimate conversation, and I said, we've known each other for years. I'm sorry to lay this on you, but I'm in crisis. I've had to stop working. I'm desperate. I don't know what to do. So here it is. When I was 6, this thing came at me, and he went like this. And he said, okay, he said, any more details than that is for a doctor. He said, as it happens, I've had to deal with the same thing myself, and I'm going to give you the number of the doctor who specializes in trauma. He's a GP, specializes in trauma, and he will get the help that you need. And make sure you tell him all the details. That's the only way he will get you the help that you need. So that started the professional support that I needed to come out of crisis and go on what I now fondly refer to as a healing journey. Professional support was a big piece of it. It was absolutely necessary no matter what else. He said, but it wasn't enough. He said, because you're in a doctor's office for minutes or an hour, and then you're not, and then between appointments, he says, you're left with this thing that you're dealing with that could take years to make peace with. So what I learned to do was Google up survivors of. You will find social, non-professional, social organizations that deal with the same thing. And what I learned very quickly is that, and since then I have Googled up survivors of, just to get an idea of how broad the spectrum of social support is on this earth that we call home. I have probably put in several hundred survivors of just to see if I would ever see a blank screen. I thought of every possible human condition and experience that I could think of and put in survivors of, and never once did I not see multiple screens of social organizations that have numbers, sometimes thousands, sometimes millions of people already in place around the world dealing with this. So to get back to my story, I Googled up survivors of. I kept opening up pages until there was a phone number contact, and I kept calling numbers until I got someone on the phone and said, I said, I can't say I'm a survivor of, but I now am getting professional help, and my friend said that I also need to get social support, and I'm a survivor of, and can you please tell me about your organization? And I'm getting emotional because I remember how relieved I was. She said, sweetheart, and I felt sick because emotionally that's what I was. And I'm on the phone, and she said, sweetheart, do you have time? And I said, I have nothing but time. And she said, you just listen for a while, and I'm going to tell you what we do here, and I'm going to give you a chance to ask some questions. So she said, I'm gonna give you our Toronto contact. You're gonna call there. They're gonna have the same conversation with you, and you're gonna be able to physically get together with people that are dealing with this, and you're gonna be able to talk about this with other people that are healing and have healed and are now leading healing groups. When I say about getting everyone talking, me going to my friend and saying, like, I'm sorry, but I gotta lay this on you because I'm desperate. At the time, I'm suffering, I'm suicidal, I'm self-harming to cope. And very quickly after opening up to my friend, I had professional and social supports in place. That was me, the beginning of getting talking, of coming out of isolation, coming out of shame, coming out of feeling dirty, ugly, unlovable, and worthless inside. I felt so dirty and so ugly inside, and the self-loathing was the worst part of it. And I came out of isolation by taking a chance and talking to a friend. And then I took a chance and opened up to a doctor. And then I took a chance and talked to a stranger in another part of the world and said, this is what I'm suffering. And she said, sweetheart, you just listen to me and I'm going to tell you what we do here. And by telling her, that was me getting talking. So having said that, me sitting here with you is furthering me with the experience of getting talking and keeping talking. Like I want to see the entire world get in on, get talking and keep talking about whatever your human experience is, because in my experience, I have gotten all the professional and social support that I could possibly hope for, and then some. And by Googling up survivors of, I haven't come across one human experience that there isn't social support for. So here it is. I have a dream of starting something, not I starting, we starting. So I'm having a dream of getting a group of people together that will get something up and running called the GET Foundation. It stands GET, Get Everyone Talking. I have suffered in silence, but not more than anybody else has. There are a group of people on this earth that have suffered precisely the way I've suffered because they've had precisely the same experience. That's where the take a chance and get talking starts. The template is this. This is what happened, and this is how it's affecting me, and this is what's happening in my life right now, and I'm overwhelmed, and I can't deal with this by myself. I need you to get me some help now, please. That was my plea, and it all came together. And in my experience, everything that I've ever shared and took a chance and eventually got to the right human being that could relate to what I was talking about. I found professional and social support in abundance, and I like to use, I'm living with support like in utopia support. And does it mean I don't walk around with anxiety and I react beautifully always and my manners are always perfect? No, but they're way better. Most days I finish my work day, come here, spend some time, and then go what I do with the rest of my day. But there's always work, the water, and then at least once end up in another person's eyes. And again, boy, girl, doesn't matter. And hi, how's your day? And every once in a while, I end up sitting with somewhere hearing the long version, and I'm like, and people say, oh, you don't know me, why do you say, no, I actually really am interested on how your day is going. And I just sit right here like this.
And you've got the experience to meet them, to meet them where they are in a real way. I think that people can probably sense that.
That's a nice way to put it. So let's get everyone talking and keep everyone talking about what matters. And what matters is what affects each one of us physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. For these influence our motivation and behavior, which in turn affects everyone around us. So let's get everyone talking and keep everyone talking to connect and go on a worldwide healing journey together.